Oh, hello, hello, Studio 108 community. I am so glad that you're clicking in to listen, following along with us. This is Kaley Tocco. She is one of the newer teachers on our staff, but definitely a very experienced yoga teacher, a very experienced yoga practitioner, more importantly, and someone that I find interesting and inspiring and supportive and lovely in so many ways. And so I know. Let's chat. Let's share it with everyone. I know you have a lot of skills and talents and things going on. So let's talk about this.
Yeah,
When did I meet you?
I came to Align to Shine, I believe, was the first time I met you.
Align to Shine is the New Year's
Yeah.
vision boarding kickoff for the new year. I think you came down in the valley when I had that room down in the valley.
Yeah.
So that was like 2 plus 3, 5 years ago.
It was either 2017 or 2018.
Yeah.
Because I remember the vision board that I made, the first one, and I remember what was going on.
Right.
So I think it was 2017 or 2018.
And that room was packed.
Yeah.
Oh, or
and
were
then
you down in the low valley? Not the
I was in it had the windows around. It wasn't in your little
It wasn't in
first
my little
studio
room. So
108.
even before that. So
Even
it was
before that.
before the 5 years. Yeah. So it
Yeah.
probably was 2017. Yeah. And that room was packed.
Yeah.
That was a bigger room.
And then you got me hooked on those dates filled with peanut butter and chocolate.
That was the day it happened.
That was the day it happened. And I was like instantly in love.
I know we stuffed the dates with almond butter, like Heinen's fresh made almond butter,
Mm-hmm.
the really chunky, thick stuff.
Yeah.
And then we drizzle the vegan chocolate.
Yes.
And I think that was probably before the Lily's days. That was probably like the Good Life or Eat Right or whatever that's called.
Yeah.
You know what they're called, the happy ones. So yeah, those are really good.
I started dipping them like Buckeyes.
Oh, that's good. More chocolate.
Yeah. And then you said Leah puts quinoa in it, so it's crunchy. I think you told me that.
Did she start doing that?
I think so.
She might have told you that.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little crunchy, yeah. Yeah, and then you got me hooked immediately. Like,
yeah. One of my, okay, a couple favorite things. It was one of my favorite things that you came to Sedona.
Yes, mine too.
Okay,
yeah.
But that's just one of my favorite things because my favorite thing.
So good.
She knows. Is that Kaley went to she went to like Tantra.
Yeah.
I see a little alert coming up, so I'm just gonna check and make sure. Oh yeah, we're good. It's just offering us other options. It's trying to tell us stuff. So this happens. Like,
we're busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, you went to White Tantra Yoga.
Yeah.
And you guys, we had this huge SUV thing.
Yeah.
And the parking garages in Chicago are very narrow.
Every parking situation is very small.
Yeah, every shore, the ceilings are very low.
Oh my gosh, terrifying.
Terrifying, right? The curves are very.
Oh my gosh. Tight. Yeah. Like you just need to ride your bike in Chicago.
And take your life and just walk.
Yeah, just walk.
Oh, just walk. Yeah, you need to take the hour. And then the parking spots are very small and the poles and the pillars are very big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I got to a parking spot and I was just like, Kaley's like, let's back in and we can pull right out. I was like, good idea. And then I put the car in reverse and then I looked at all the mirrors and I was like, I can't do it. And she's like, get out, I'll do it. And like I got on the front seat and I chanted my mantra and Kaley's just like, close your eyes. I chanted my mantra, I closed my eyes, and she just did this little squirmy, wormy thing, and she got that big old truck, and I was just like, badass girl. Yeah, this is what I need.
Yeah.
Co-pilot.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. We made it. We turned that rental with not a scratch.
Yes. And less bugs.
Oh my gosh, it was so much cleaner. They gave us the dirtiest rental.
Yeah, we got it clean for them.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome. Enterprise. Yeah.
Right, and no coupon required.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, their customer service was so bad. That's all we're gonna say about it, because the rest of the trip was just incredible.
It really was. I mean, I feel like a lot of experiences that I have with you, probably, all of them have changed my life in some aspect, but that one, like, really changed it.
I don't know if people really appreciate the potential that Kundalini yoga practices are sitting with. It's like, here is this system of technology that's sitting here with so much potential
Mhm.
for anybody that just walks up and gives it a try.
Yeah.
It's so hard to explain to people. And so like
Yeah.
I get in there and I'm doing it and I know what it's done to my life in the past 4 or 5 years, whatever it is. Like, and like I have this experience. And so then I get super enthusiastic about it and I want to share it with everyone. And I can see like before I tried it, I would have no way of conceptualizing
Mhm.
what can open up, what can happen, what can flow through.
It's like how I have to try and explain a sound bath. It's
Exactly.
literally impossible. I just say, you just have to come.
You just have to come.
Yeah.
Same thing. Power of 11, same thing.
Same thing.
Same
Mhm.
thing.
You just have to come.
You just have to come. You have to
Mhm.
start.
Mhm.
Sometimes people will walk in the door and I'll look at their energy and I look at their face and I'm like, come on and we can help you.
Yeah.
Would you please just try something?
Mhm.
And then it's really up to them, but
Mhm.
yeah.
As long as we can keep them coming back into
And
the door.
white tantric, same thing.
Yeah.
Like I can say it'll change your life.
I was
then-
so nervous. I mean, I was terrified,
Yeah.
you know, even from the moment that I like said yes
Uh-huh.
to the moment that like it started. But to like, I'm really these days all about these experiences that empower. And that really empowered me to be like, okay, like I can do these hard things. And then I'm reminded of all of the hard things that I've been through in my life too. And I'm just like, you know, in the big picture, white tantric is nothing compared to what I've been
Okay,
through.
hard things designed to rip you down.
Yes.
Hard things designed to elevate you.
Yeah.
Like big difference.
Big difference. And I prefer hard things to elevate me.
100%.
Yeah. But you need the hard things to tear you down.
And the hard things that tear you down might give you the impression that you want to avoid the hard things.
Yeah.
Even if they might lift you up.
Mhm.
It's just like I need to avoid all hard things.
Mhm. It's easier for our soul to suffer. It's so much easier.
Yeah.
It's hard to do the work to heal yourself and to elevate yourself, especially when you are down in the pits of it, you know. But it's so much, it's so empowering when you're like, wow, like look what I did, like
Yeah.
look what I created, look
where I've
how
come.
look how far I've come. Yeah.
Okay, so she teaches yoga, she does sound baths. What else?
I do Reiki.
Yes.
Thai massage, and access bars, which not many people know about access bars, but it's basically a Reiki session on steroids. So there's more than 32, but I only learned the first 32. There's 32 points on the head that you activate. I activate with my fingers and I ask them to run. So it's called running the bars. And each bar or point on the head is associated with a different aspect of life. Like there's one for creativity, there's one for money, there's one called the aging toaster. So it's your like ideas and your thought processes around these simple aspects of life.
Gotcha.
That when the bars run, you have the ability to create new pathways within the mind.
Brilliant.
So it's a lot of conversation in these sessions where it's like,
really?
Yeah, because people want to talk about it and then it's very interesting because what you're talking about, they don't know what bar I'm running, but it is always associated to the bar. Yeah.
That is fascinating.
Yes. And then they
Why
always
didn't I know this? Look how I learned something new from
I
you
learned
today.
it right before COVID, and I was like, when I found it, I was like, this is the healing modality that I've been looking for years.
Gotcha.
And and the best part about it is that when you do a bar session on somebody, you get a bar session. So it's like a little different than Reiki.
Right.
But if you're running someone's bars, your bars are running.
Your bars
too.
are running.
Yeah, we'll have to try it sometime.
We will definitely try it. I want to click off and try it right now.
Right.
This is where we are. This is where we are. Okay, this present moment. Kaley, I want to talk about your podcast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I also do that. So it's called sacral stimulation.
It's called sacral stimulation.
Yeah, it's all about the sacral chakra, so our second chakra. So
your second chakra is in your low belly and your hips.
Right in the all in the sex reproductive organs. All of the juice of the body.
The flowy juices. The birthing center.
Birthing center.
The womb of the body.
Center.
The color is orange.
Yeah.
The element is water.
Yes. Lots of flow.
Not pond scum, not ice, water.
Yeah.
Flow.
Our emotions are there.
Yeah.
They're all controlled there. It harbors our creativity, our passion, our joy, our sexuality, sensuality.
And so what do you do with this? What would be some things that we could find on your podcast? First of all, it's called sacral
Stimulation.
Okay.
Because we wanted to just stimulate your sacral center.
Right.
And your curiosity of it. Because when we first started, I was terrified of it. Like I used to teach restorative yoga based on the chakras, and every single time I would be like a little weird about the sacral chakra and just be like, oh, it brings you creativity.
Yeah,
you never say like the sexual part. Yeah. But you know, it's important. We are here for that. We're here for that portion of life to connect
and to
that
experience. Like
Mhm.
we're here in human form. Like you guys, there are souls in line waiting to come to Earth.
Millions. If you've ever seen Soul, have you ever seen Soul?
No.
The Pixar movie?
Oh, cool. No.
Oh, you have to. And it shows all of the souls in line to come to Earth.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a really good movie.
And they want to come to Earth because when you're in a human body, you feel things. When you're in a human body, you feel things. You're in a human body because you want to feel things. And
that was where I was when we started the podcast. I wasn't feeling things.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I used like the action of sex to prevent me from feeling things.
Yeah.
And so when we started this, I was like, I need this in my life to heal this space.
Yeah.
And
you went started with your healing. That was really courageous.
Yeah. Because my healing has, well, first of all, it's been all over the place, but I've healed from many different aspects of like really heavy things, and people aren't talking about it. You know, I came from a family full of addiction. We, you know, I grew up in the 90s when like addiction was just swept under the rug, and you didn't want to tell anyone because you thought that people were gonna whatever, judge and whatever. And so like growing up hiding it was so heavy. And then we have now, you know, I worked a lot in the recovery community in Medina, but like we're working to change the stigma of it now because we as a collective need to heal this addiction aspect. And when your sacral chakra is overactive, you get addictions.
Or when it's underactive. I mean, there are a lot of different addictions.
Yeah. Codependency is also an addiction. So I healed from that aspect. I was just addicted to the idea of somebody needing me, somebody wanting me. And so that's why I use sex to really try and prevent the feeling of it. You know?
And it's like addiction puts us in a mode of manipulation.
Yes.
To get that need met.
And when you're faced with, you know, the other side of addiction, you really have this victim mind mentality.
100%.
And I, you know, I knew that part about me. I lost a lot of friends over it. And so I strive so hard to not let that creep back in because I don't want to be like that.
You have to like, we all, there's a diligence in overcoming victim consciousness, poverty consciousness, like all of the low matrices that are, they've permeated society for so long. It's like the goldfish trying to overcome the water. I mean, you know, there's just like, it's woven into us in such a way.
Especially when it's like been there for generations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all what I grew up watching.
Yeah.
So it's every day. Every day I work at it. Yeah. I apologize a lot.
There's
every day.
There's a diligence of that self-awareness. 100%. I love it.
Yeah.
So you decided I'm just going to have these conversations.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have these conversations and offer them out in the world and get through this.
And at first they started funny because who doesn't use humor to kind of mask like the big thing going on, right? Yeah. But then like they got a little more serious. We've interviewed quite a few people. We interviewed this amazing woman. She knows all about the womb. So she told us a lot about you know, yoni steams and womb practices and stuff like that, because a lot of that stuff is miscommunicated
100%
in our society. So we try to find people who have like these very interesting stories. We have had one girl on quite a few times and she's in the poly world. So she's been married to her husband, and then they just welcomed in another woman,
Uh-huh.
and they all three live together and make it work.
Uh-huh.
And for me, like it's a little bit mind bending because I struggle with one person and thinking about having another person. But when you are, the whole point of the podcast is just to be open and to just listen and be able to understand that, like, we are all meant here to feel, and we're meant to come here to feel joy.
And we're meant to be here to care for and to support each other. And there are a lot of assumptions that we don't need to necessarily decide we're not going to live under, but we could at least look at and question and say, like, why do I hold this assumption? I remember saying to someone once who was, their comments weren't all that accepting around homosexuality. And I just was like, I kind of feel like that would be an exhibit of a really much bigger heart that could love beyond gender, that could be love beyond race, that could love beyond number,
and all
like
of it.
all of it, right? Like this is an advancement of our heart to be able to expand ourselves and to like hold that question mark and that door open to some of these assumptions.
And I feel like when you do open that door and you open your mind, it just brings about this whole new curiosity and like joy of life. And you can bring and you can bring different aspects of that into your own life, into your relationship and stuff. And it doesn't have to be so boxy, And it's all like your own preference too.
Live inside that Chicago parking garage.
Seriously,
I just want to like go out.
I don't want to have to back it up.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's just, the whole podcast is just to expand your mind. And surprisingly, because we've put so much loving energy behind it, we've only received like one bad review.
That's outstanding. Kaley.
One bad review.
That's outstanding.
And we just, I'm the type of person where I'm just like block. But my co-host is like, yeah, let him do it, and I'm just like, no, block. I can't right now, block.
I'm always like this. Like, let's talk about it.
Right.
Why do I want to engage in the naysayers?
Yeah, I was like, I only have so much energy.
Just like, get out here. That's a riot.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to hear about the retreats.
Yeah. So we hosted our first retreat in February in Hocking Hills.
Okay.
And
use the name of your co-host so that everybody.
Oh yeah. So her name is Brittany Quintana.
Yeah.
She goes by B. She's literally just like the queen bee of everything that she does. She inspires me every single day. Like she's just the freest soul I've ever met.
Cool.
And so her and I really complement each other because I'm like a little, when I first met her, I was very, very structured, and she has loosened me up a little bit, and I've allowed for her to add a little structure in her life. So
I love that.
It's very yin and yang. It works out really great.
Yeah, but we want to name and we want to embody.
Yeah. So she's
person.
Yeah. So she's wonderful. And she and I hosted our first retreat in February. We did so we had different themes for the day. So I'm the type of person where it's like, listen, we only have so much time, so let's get rid of the awkwardness because not everybody knew each other. So the first thing we started off with was blindfolds. We bought them all eye masks, and then they sat back to back and they had breath together. And then they just, sensually touched each other while they cuddled up together.
Yeah.
And we were very open to the possibility of anything happening, but at the same time, we really wanted it to be an experience for the person individually and not like focus so much on like pleasing someone else for the weekend. So the second day we had more of the playful aspect of the sacral chakra. So we had crafts, creativity, and we did a photo shoot, and then we made a calendar with a photo shoot. So everyone had this like very beautiful calendar to take home.
I love it.
And then the Sunday was more of like the deep sensual feeling part of the sacral chakra.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Emotional.
Yeah.
And tell me about your audience. Is this cross ages? Who's interested in this?
Yeah, I mean, we welcome everybody, but we're finding people. So the oldest woman we had was, I want to say 54, I think she
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
And then the youngest was like in her 20s. So
Yeah,
it's a
so
pretty
that is a
big
nice big
range.
range.
Mhm.
I love that. I
Yeah.
think there is definitely healing across each of those generations.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so this is what, like, I'm glad that people are finding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like another aspect of our retreat. It wasn't about the healing, it was more about the empowerment.
Interesting.
Because her and I do work in the healing realms,
Mhm.
but we really just wanted to provide a space where you can feel empowered in your woman and your sacral and all of the stuff that comes with it.
Right. And here's what's like always so interesting to me about second chakra, and you said it very well. It's like parts of it feel kind of taboo,
Mhm.
and parts of it don't.
Mhm.
Right. And
Yeah.
so, like, it's hard to appreciate that without going into the shadow of it,
Yeah.
without going into the taboo of it.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to claim
Yeah.
the real prize and the jewel of it.
You
Like,
have
you've got
to accept all, I mean, it's with every chakra, you
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
even in the solar, you start to get into solar plexus and you have to accept the ego as an aspect of protection, but it doesn't always have to drive the car,
100%.
you know, so it's like that with everything.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And now this is like the era of integrating polarities.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, if you don't step in and willingly do the work, you're gonna be thrown in. Like, I remember growing up, this reminds me of like being at the lake as a kid.
Yeah.
And like knowing full well, if I didn't get in the water,
Someone's pushing you.
somebody will push me in, right? And it's like, what a crazy, like, could you just respect people who don't want to get in the water? Like, what a crazy thing.
Yeah.
But the truth is, the universe is a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Life is a little bit like that. If you don't get in the water, someone will push you in.
Someone will push you
Life
in.
will push you in. There will be a stick coming your way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I try to always be open about like my healing adventure because, you know, like everybody on Instagram wants to put all these butterflies and rainbows out, but like
Yeah.
it's not always like that. And healing can be pretty, but it can also be really ugly. And so I really strive to like let people know that like it's okay to be pushed in the water sometimes. It's okay to dip your toe in as long as you're giving that effort to do something,
Right.
you know?
Right. Like you're in the game.
Yeah.
It's on level for
Yeah.
yourself.
You're not just trying to ignore it
Right.
and just pretend the lake's not there.
Yeah. And some of what we see is the shadow acted out blindly.
Mm-hmm.
So some of what we see in terms of people sharing themselves in the under that umbrella of sexual expression, sensual expression, is kind of maybe narcissistic, maybe just blind, maybe unaware.
Yeah.
So
there's
like the look at me.
Yeah. And there's an aspect of like being empowered by your sexuality, but not like throwing it in people's faces.
100%. As a matter of fact, when you're empowered, you don't
do that.
You don't do that.
Yeah, and I've, you know, it's the same thing with
or you
like,
don't manipulate with
you
it.
don't manipulate with it, you don't use it, you don't use that as your power because
Right.
you're so empowered that you don't have time for that
Yeah.
kind of BS, you
Yeah.
know, like I don't have time to manipulate people. People are gonna look at me whether I'm looking sexually or I'm not, but I'm not going to like flaunt it because I also want people to feel empowered by my presence. I don't want people to be scared about it or like, you know, like, oh, well, she's wearing that, like I could never wear that, you know,
Mhm.
like I will wear the right outfit at the right place,
Mhm.
but I'll never wear it to like disempower someone else to further empower myself.
100%.
Yeah.
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 And
I think
that comes
people,
from like digging in there. That doesn't, yeah,
oh yeah.
for most of us.
Because for a while I was scared to wear some of the things that I wear, like I was scared to wear it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm a little modest too. Like I'll wear like a little crop top, but it's only a little bit, you know, like I don't really, all of this to me is very sacred. So like people don't get to see it, you know, for free.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I share it, you know, with the right person and he gets to see all of it. And like some people will get like a hint of it. And the hint is there to empower you to be like, okay, like I might not fully like my body, but maybe I could wear that and feel comfortable too.
Right. Maybe wearing something and practicing feeling more comfortable
Mhm.
helps me develop my relationship
Yes.
with my body.
Yeah.
Because I think like feminine embodiment,
Mhm.
and we could say masculine embodiment,
Mhm.
or any sort of like getting into your skin experience
Yes.
is what we're talking about.
Because I ran from it for a long time.
You
Like
ran
my-
from being in your
From
body.
being in my body.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I really didn't like it. So now, like, I use
Being
this
human's
as a
weird.
reward. Being human is so weird.
It's so weird.
I say it all the time. It's so weird to be
It's
human.
the weirdest thing.
It's the weirdest thing. Especially when, like, you know, when you start to play in the ethers and you
I
can
know.
leave your body.
Right?
And then you're like,
Why would I come back?
yeah,
It's weird.
so
thing.
weird.
So weird. It does the weirdest thing.
It does. It makes the weirdest noises.
Oh my god!
It does.
Like, it's loud getting older. That looks so weird.
Right.
Like, how weird is that?
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's important to like, I think the more embodied we become, whether it's in your feminine and your masculine, I mean, you have to balance it both, right? Even
Right.
for males too,
Right,
like they
yeah.
have to balance their feminine as well. The more empowered we become in our bodies, I think the more joyful life becomes.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you run from it and you don't, and I mean, I still don't like it every single day, but like at least now I don't have that like chatter in the back that's like, should you really do this? Should you really wear this? Should you really look like this? And I'm finding more joy in my life because I'm just
100%.
like, well, I have to live in this body, so I might as
And
well
I mean,
figure out a
it's
way.
what you wear, but you know, it's so much more than that. It's like, if I don't feel comfortable in my skin, then there's all of the emotional business in the subconscious that's going to make me talk about weird. It'll make me behave weird, and I'll say weird things, and I'll be like, why did that come out of my mouth right now? Well, because you don't really feel good about yourself right now.
Yeah.
You're not fully embodied in a way that feels good.
Yeah.
So then all of that emotional commotion is, you know, it bubbles up and it pops out, and then there you are with the consequences of that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the next retreat is
August.
yay.
Yeah.
Where will it be? Do you know?
I want to try and take it to Yellow Springs, Ohio. It's
Oh,
so
cool.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll have an opportunity to go outside.
Yeah.
But it'll be either there or Hocking Hills.
Gotcha. You went to Hocking Hills the first time.
Yeah.
It's a nice little getaway.
It is
just
a
a
nice
few
little
hours
getaway.
away.
Yeah. You can sometimes get a cabin where there's nothing around, which is what we got. And
Yeah.
so we like to find places where you can feel safe in the space to unleash and let go. And there's not like someone over there that you have to like hide down or listen. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of partial to Hawking because I'm an OU girl. Did you know that?
I think I did.
Yeah. You know Bobcat. It's
My
my undergrad.
Bobcat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm like, oh yeah, Hocking Hills is so beautiful.
It is.
It's so
It
magical.
really is.
It
Yeah.
really is. Yeah. But Yellow Springs is cool too.
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll happen in August,
Mhm.
and you will share info with us.
Yeah.
And what else do we want to say? We want to talk just a quick minute because you mentioned the Nani steam and other, you know, this is all about just self-love and women empowerment, feminine empowerment. That you and Leah and Meg, who also teach here, are going to do the full moon circles this summer. So those are going to be donation based.
Yeah.
And do you see what I mean by an interesting person? So Leah is interesting, Kaley is interesting, Megan is interesting, and you're each going to take turns, and you're just going to bring some interesting conversations and practices for full moon. So you guys look for that on the studio website too.
Yeah.
And get in here on the full moon and see what these girls are doing.
It's going to be so great.
It's going to be so great. Community is priceless right now.
Yeah. I mean, I like live for it now.
Right.
And it's when you can remove yourself from the competition, because as women we are raised to be competitive. It's not cool anymore, right?
Right.
Like, we really need to move into the space of community, because the more we can support ourselves, the more empowered we can be in our own bodies. And then it's just like, wow.
And not only that, but like the pressure of what's going on in the world is a freak out.
Yes.
The only thing that's going to get you through is your community. And so
Yes.
either a community of more freaked out people,
Right.
or a community of really grounded, embodied people who are working towards a new way of living and looking at things and loving each other and supporting each other. And so this is it. This is the path forward.
We don't have to live in fear anymore.
We do not.
Yeah. We can live in love, and there will be fear there, but once you have the community, they can pull you back out.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's very special.
Yeah, it's very special. So
there's a lot of it here.
Yeah.
108.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Kaylee holds down our Mondays, 9:30 hot, noon warm gentle,
Mhm.
5 p.m. warm gentle,
Mhm.
and 7 p.m. yin
Mhm.
yoga. You'll also find her on Wednesday nights at 7 with the warm gentle class.
Yeah.
So we're really blessed to have her. We're really blessed to have you listening. Please like, share, comment, do the things. Get in the conversation.
Yeah.
Look up her podcast. Sacral stimulation.
Mhm.
And check the studio website. Kaylee,
Yeah.
namaste.
Thank you so much, my
Satnam.
friend. Satnam.
Thank you. Thanks for following.
Thank you.
Where'd it go?